jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
What's good, everyone? WCS back at it once again. You already know. Big shout out to Shaw News, the Sauce Experience, aka Showtime Shaw on deck. First in the building. You already know what it is, man. You know what it says about the first in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? They had to get here for the hot grease. You feel me? And you're looking at one of the premier topics of why the grease continues to be hot. Because who would I be if I didn't come on here and speak on it? I see and I have witnessed, the constant travesty of calling these so-called content creators individuals who cover the sport of boxing. They have taken upon themselves to pretty much commit and dedicate their lives, y'all, their real lives, to believing that they can remove the crown off the pound for pound best, the Omaha monster, Terence Bud Crawford. They are trying aimlessly. And a brother like me, look, I don't need February to try to reach out and bring these brothers in and embrace them and pat them on the head and be like, hey, you're wasting your time, right? You know you can't get this back, right? I've tried, people. I've tried. But all I get is, I guess some people some people do understand, what I'm about and the message I'm trying to put out there. But the others, I don't think they can be saved. You know what I'm saying? You can't save all the hoes. You can't. You just can't save them, man. But what we've been able to witness is a mundane daily occurrence of these individuals constantly ridiculing and putting dirt on Terence Bud Crawford's name. So that's why I had to revisit this infamous thumbnail and let them know heavy is the head who wears the crown. And right now, Crawford is still wearing the crown, whether you like who he fought in December of 2022 or not. It doesn't make a difference. You can't do nothing about it. This is the only logic I'm trying to bring to your doorstep. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to sign for shit. I'm bringing that mother, don't need a signature. I'm trying to explain to you, no matter your words, you can't remove the crown. You can't do anything. You know why you can't remove it? Because the fighter that you're supposed to be supporting 1,000%, you dare mention his name. You dare mention his name because it links him up with another current duck that's going on as we speak. Look, this shit is right here that's going on in this era is unfounded, bro. I don't think we've had a blatant fighter who's supposed to be in such an epic, historic situation of fighting the best, fight the best. 3 titles, did all the heavy lifting, unified world welterweight champion, who's just went off the deep end, man. Just crashed and burned off the road. And if you read what I put on my YouTube, right? Down there in the details, if you read what I put in there, I pretty much summed up. That's what you get for driving too long, right? And now you run out of exits. No more escape routes for you. Now the true you is coming out, bro. You didn't want to fight with Crawford. You did everything you could to get up out of it. You did. You made the negotiations very complex when they didn't need to be. The man came over there with regurgitated information. Okay, the details have been put out there. We already know he didn't have a promoter. We know all that. But knowing that he didn't have a promoter, that doesn't mean the man's supposed to become a fragile individual and don't support himself, don't defend, and don't go in there and do solid, secure business. No one said that was in the paperwork. That wasn't one of the prerequisites. He's supposed to go over there and fight for what his worth is. And he did that. And due to unforeseen circumstances of the promoter, he wasn't able to get the fight. So he went over there to Plan Bravo. I like Plan Bravo. They always teach us in the military to have a Plan Bravo and a Charlie. You feel me? So I'm glad he was able to remove himself from that, relocate, and get paid and keep it moving. Shout out to Andrew Charles on deck, man. I see you. Shout out to True Media Today, USA Boxing, Coach Malachi in the building, on deck as you know it. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more on deck. Salute, Scotty. Salute to your OG. You know what I'm saying? Big Blunts and Boxing on deck. Salute in the building. So, as I had these conversations, like these group meetings, it just seems like the same. You know, it's some people that's coming to the light, though. I love it. It's some people that's coming to the light on this situation because it's been ongoing for several months. And the pathetic part about this foretelling is that you still have individuals that bleed it over, that transition over to 2023 and still talking about the same thing. At this point, it doesn't matter to certain people. Look, I'm speaking on it because I feel it's a message. You know, they're going to tune in anyway. They're going to peek in and they're going to listen and they're going to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? I want them to psychologically pendiculate. That means stretching of the mind. I want you to come up here and make that shit pliable. I want that shit to be like Play-Doh, God damn it. Because I'm telling you once again, you cannot stop what's in that thumbnail. If he wears the crown, you can't remove it. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you say. But I'm here to not only speak on Heavy is the Head Who Wears the Crown, but I want to talk about duck season. Now, how are we going to be here anticipating Crawford Spence and it don't happen? And Spence has made it perfectly clear that all of a sudden his weight is an issue. All right. He still haven't vacated the belts, y'all. I want to make you aware of the prevaricated mentality that this dude have. He still haven't vacated the belts. He still hasn't been able to accomplish his undisputed declaration. He still have failed to accomplish his welterweight manifesto, and that manifesto was becoming undisputed. Now I must rally those feeble fans that he has, the pretenders that's out there. I must rally you. Just come around and listen for a second. I just have some questions. I remember when there was so many debates going on and y'all was talking about, hey, you know, he did all this and Crawford don't deserve that. He don't deserve this, that, and the other. He don't deserve nothing. Just go there and take what they give you. Errol did everything. Okay, he may have more belts in the welterweight. We've heard the cans over and over again, those empty soda cans just being kicked down the goddamn boulevard of the YTC. We heard all this shit. But what I want y'all to understand is, if he really wanted to fight, you know how you have those debates and you hear people say, oh, if he really want to fight, they'll do everything to make it. But it was kind of mute when I was listening to all these debates dealing with ERROL Spence and Crawford. He wasn't doing anything to make the fight. It just seems like it was more deterrence out there than anything. But when it got to a point of closure, right? And we found out the news, it was official. It was out here on the airwaves that Crawford had redirected his attention over to what? BLK Prime. That's when we seen the tweets come out, and ERROL Spence for the first time was complaining about weight. Now, if I'm here, I'm being absolutely truthful with the listeners. I'm going to assume this man was never in training camp to make that November fight. He wasn't on weight. They had no intentions of him making that fight. That's why the fight was moved to 2023, because he wouldn't be able to make the weight. And make it so bad, they're sitting up here trying to force this man to fight a guy in the name of Keith Thurman, a former unified champion, a guy who was able to assume that position before ERROL Spence even picked up the WBC belt, which was a previous belt of Keith Thurman. I've never seen so much pouting. This is pouting, y'all. This is motherfucking pouting. Throwing tantrums. Feel like you entitled and shit. We're talking about a non-sanctioned sport, and we have individuals, it's in the same camp, acting the same way. This dude is mad, y'all. Just like the Charlos are mad of Demetrius Andrade, this dude is mad, man. He's mad because he thought that he can just ask questions and try to browbeat somebody over and over again because he had that IBF belt that Keith Thurman was supposed to adhere to every request that he had. That's not the way it works. We're finding it out with Crawford. How can you be mad at Keith Thurman for not acknowledging you when you don't want to acknowledge anything Crawford has going on when it comes to these negotiations last year? You didn't want to acknowledge, but yet and still y'all say PBC is going to be upset with Crawford on the way he acted? Look at you, brother. ERROL Spence, if you're listening, look at how you acting, man. Look at you, bro. You know how many of these clueless fans of yours that pretend like they support you, but only they talk Crawford's name every single day? I don't know what's going on. You know, I pretty much diagnosed the virus that's infected a lot of y'all. You know what I'm saying? That pusillanimous contagiousness that's going around over there. I just don't understand how you can be mad at Thurman for not acknowledging you, but you're pretty much doing the same exact thing to Crawford, who's been engaging and saying, hey, I want this fight. I want this fight. Spin the block. I'm ready to spin the block. Just letting you know, I want the fight. He's put it out there for you. Has he not? He put this shit out there, bro. Michael Johnson Boxing Talking More. I see you on deck. SB90 on deck. Salute to you. Caps in full salute. On deck. Dub 100 on deck. I see you. Salute WCS. Salute to you, brother. Spence fan base don't even support him. They talk about Crawford and speak on him and do more videos on him on YouTube. And see, I see that going on, right? And I say, hey, that just proves me and what I'm speaking on. They don't give a damn about that dude. They don't give a damn. And I know deep down behind closed doors, ERROL Spence has already came to a point long time ago that these so-called fans don't fuck with him like that. That's why he really don't acknowledge him. He don't come up here and address him. He don't go live. He don't even think to show some fan appreciation. He don't do any of that shit because they busy focused in showing that Bud Crawford love. You know what I'm saying? That's what they love doing every freaking day, finding something to talk about. It gets easier if you continue to reciprocate the same language over and over and over again. And then it becomes very banal. You know what I'm saying? You're saying the same shit over and over again. Nobody's listening anymore. You remember when I told y'all, I said, hey, I tune in to some of these channels even if I don't like them. That's not the case anymore, bro. Because now it's gotten to a point where I will never allow it to be an acquired taste. I just went over there just to be nosy. I told him that. I'm being nosy. I'm just coming to see what you're talking about. But now it's not even within me to be nosy. It sucks so bad to hear the same shit, you know what I'm saying, over and over again. It sucks. It's like going back to grade school and pretending like I don't know what 1 + 3 is. 5. Is it 5? No, it ain't 5. That's what they told me when I went through. They lied to you. But I asked her over and over again. 1 + 3 is 5. She said yes. See, I'm just saying, I'm not going to go there and pretend like shit is making sense to me. I'm not doing it, bro. We got an alcoholic holding up the welterweight division. I try to look at it like, listen, it seems like when certain people bring this shit up, they act like you're the first one who mentioned it. That's not the case. This information has been available to anyone and anybody that had paid attention to the sport. It's been out there for a long period of time. We've seen him on several occasions out in public, inebriated. That is factual. But my whole basis for this live is to make people aware that this is unacceptable. We're trying to move on to another welterweight fight. All right. We heard Espinosa come out here and say pretty much the last 3 years is the only time that pay-per-view guarantees came into existence. Cap. Look, let's if anybody can provide the data, if he was basically talking about Showtime, but it's a lot that he said. It's a lot to unpack on what he said, but he was pretty much trying to finger point at Crawford as the sole proprietor of this negotiation not happening, and that's not true. We know that's not true, because how can Crawford enter the negotiations without a promoter? And Bob Aaron's been on record as saying it's not going to work because he don't have a promoter. But yet and still, down here, it seems like the lack of education and your listening capabilities, you don't want to accept. You don't want to accept it. That if the man don't have a promoter and you saying he's coming in here with a limited force to fight this battle, how can you give him so much power? How can you give him so much power? Stephen Espinosa saying, well, we can't go all these weeks and then you come up and say, nope, I don't want that. No, I don't think that was the way it was at all. I don't think that was the way it was at all. We need to go back to the boxing scene, freaking that they put out there. The tweet that was put out there when somebody, the article that was written when somebody said that they was concerned over there that Crawford may not be committed anymore to making this fight happen. I felt that was honesty. I felt he wasn't motivated anymore after he was been jacked around over and over again. That's old news. That's pretty much old news, y'all. But I can't understand. Look, it's not that I don't understand it. I understand it because he's the duck master, bro, of this era. ERROL Spence Jr. He avoided Crawford. Now he's making it very, very difficult with all the stuntman accidents, and he don't want to fight Keith Thurman, y'all. Listen to me. This man don't want to fight Keith Thurman because he don't like him. Now, listen to me now. What type of panty lining fabric are we dealing with? This man, his reasoning for not fighting Keith Thurman is all because he didn't get the title shot for Keith Thurman belts when he wanted it. He did not get the open door that he was requesting when he wanted it. I don't know where or who didn't brief this guy. I don't know what they was telling Errol Spence behind the scene, but you're basically on audio saying you don't want to fight Keith Thurman, you don't like him. But when I was coming up through the boxing era, right, from the old school, them fighters, if they didn't like each other, they got in there and fought. I mean, it's well documented. They got in there and fought. Not so much right now. Not so much with Errol Spence. Like Errol Spence don't like Keith Thurman. So he's choosing to refrain from getting into the ring. They're having to take desperate measures to get this dude to fight an in-house fighter who at the time, right now, he don't have any belts. You know why he doesn't have any belts? Because you have two of his belts that you never beat him for, y'all. This dude, you don't have it, bro. You can have two of the belts. You don't have Thurman on your resume, and you ain't trying to put him on your resume. You'll fight Kell Brook, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Yordenis Ugas, but all of a sudden, you're in the same exact position that Keith Thurman was. And he's not even really drumming your door. He's not even beating that shit. He's not even doing that. It's just the fact that y'all don't want Crawford. That's a much more dangerous, deleterious fight, right? But you are refusing to fight Keith Thurman, who was the former unified. I mean, you're in his same position, bro, and you're doing the exact same thing that you're despising him for. You're doing the exact same thing, bro. God damn, man, this shit can be frustrating. The more you talk about it, it can be extremely frustrating. Not on a stressful level, right? But just when it comes down to what your expectations are of boxing. Not so much of an inner stressful, where you like you're biting your nails and shit and scratching. No, not that. It's the lack of, you expecting certain things, but the return is very low, far and few between. It's very, very low, bro. And this shit is basically still being spoken on because us as boxing fans is trying to keep HOPE. We're trying to keep HOPE. He need to drop them belts and that bottle. SB90 coming here, goddamn, with the flamethrower, bro. Cooking with Sir C on deck. Salute to you, brother. What up? What up? Miguel on deck. Salute WCS in the chat. Salute to y'all, man. Shout out to my guy Tuscaloosa on Dion Washington on deck in the building, lurking in the bunker. You already know, man. You already know. You know what I'm saying? You already know. 2 up, 2 down. What's good? He sound like a bitter baby mama. Not liking someone would make me want to fight them even more. See, you might totally be on to something right there. That's all I'm trying to say, bro. This is where I'm coming from with it. Like when I was seeing all these fighters growing up, I used to watch Pops. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. I used to see Pops, telling me, say, hey, this fight coming on. He didn't really know how much I love boxing. He just know I used to, go down to the gym periodically and get a little bit this and that while he was out working. He didn't know. He couldn't fathom what's going on right here today. Pops couldn't fathom this. Not the era for which he grew up. He couldn't fathom a fighter not liking a fighter and don't want to step in the ring with him. This is not a fighter who owed him any money. This is not a fighter that wouldn't accept him and possibly his family into their domicile when they didn't have nothing else left and they was about to be homeless. This is not a person that disrespected him in any way on a personal level or business level. You know what I'm saying? This is not a guy who attempted to sabotage and prevent him from turning professional. Keith Thurman has not even crossed the line on the professional level of this magnitude that ERROL Spence would hate this man like that. He absolutely hate Keith Thurman. And no one in their right mind that follow boxing for this period, No one can come up with a conclusion to satisfy the listeners and say, you know what, he have every right to be mad at Keith Thurman. Why you say that? Because when he was asking him for the belts, Keith Thurman turned around and punched him in the face. He sucker punched him. Okay, I can see that I can see that. That's drastic, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about something that's basic, simplistic, bro. This is, okay, you don't like me because I didn't give you the shot. Okay, you don't like me because I didn't acknowledge you back then. Like, Keith Thurman was known to have injuries. Maybe he wasn't 100% healthy. I'm not here to give him a lineup of what injuries he's supposed to have. I'm not here to prognose him with anything. But what I can tell you is that man has did absolutely nothing to warrant the negative resistance that's coming from ERROL Spence, bro. He has done nothing on that level for this man to sit up here and don't even want to fight Keith Thurman. This only further validates that he didn't want to step in there with Crawford, who a lot of us considers to be much more of a threat than Keith Thurman. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Michael Johnson Boxing Talk say fans are making excuses on why Team Spence shouldn't go into negotiations based on Crawford fighting David, but that's a cap. So here we are, and that's a solid point, right, Mike? So here we are again. We have individuals that get on here and say we want to so-called have these conversations. We want to have these debate series, and we want to debate situations like this. What is there to debate? What is there to debate? If y'all gonna continue to damn hold grudges on some petty ass shit, are we covering boxing? Are we covering celebrity, what they call that shit? Celebrity boxing or celebrity exhibitions, whatever. We're not covering a YMCA Saturday night where they allow the parents to get in there with 33-ounce gloves on, you know what I'm saying, that the mascot wear from Chuck E. Cheese, and get in here and play around. We're not talking about that. So we got fans that's going to be mad that this man went over there and fought Albanese for how many years now? We in 2023, that shit was last year. So how long y'all going to be upset because once again, Crawford proves that he's intelligent enough to handle business up to a certain point, not to be jacked off. You know what I'm saying? Laughed at because he went in there and took the bogus ass deal and he didn't get no attention. He wasn't able to provide for his family or nothing in 2022. Y'all mad because it didn't go down like that. Man, you're acting just like the favorite fighter that you support. Y'all busy up here being mad at people. Just being mad for no damn reason. Y'all don't even treat boxing like it's the hurt business. Y'all trying to treat it like it's the panty business. You know what I'm saying? Be soft like panties. Use panties. Be soft. With the blood in there too, the spotting, the seep through the pad when it gets too saturated. Yeah. Keep talking like it's the panty sport of combat. Y'all dudes up here getting extremely fucking angry over petty shit. And you're supporting a fighter who's being the most pettiest as we know it. Spence is being the most pettiest, dog. Keith Thurman was never his mandatory. What Spence is doing is worse. Hey, man. When they move and groove the way they doing, and they want to down, this is not the first time we see it now. We've seen this happen. We've seen this happen before. So I really can't go into fine detail about the rankings because we already know they can finesse that shit when we sleep. I'm trying to drop a gem. I'm dropping a gem on you now. They wait good and damn well to when we're asleep to adjust and shifts and move in these ranking system names. So when you wake up, a lot of us ain't really paying attention. Like, let me check the ranking system. No, by the time you see it, you're like, oh shit. So I moved up. Yeah, they did it in the motherfucking night. in the maw of the darkness. That's when they did it. Miguel said Thurman can defeat Spence. I believe Thurman would have a good go, you know what I'm saying, with Spence if he's absolutely healthy. But the fucked up thing about it, Miguel, is that they were showing pictures of Thurman last year. He was in the gym getting in shape. Then once again, ERROL Spence showed us when he ducked the Crawford fight and went on the mic and lied to Brian Custer. He lied to Brian Custer and pretty much told that dude that 4 or 5 days after the accident, he was going to announce a fight. 4 or 5 days. So hold up. So he's trying to convince us that a fight that we haven't heard too much about. I'm hearing rumors the fight gonna be this month and that month. We still haven't got shit. We know Gervonta Davis is fighting in April. We've heard and seen Oscar De La Hoya demanding this and Tank talking, hey, the fight gonna happen and everything. Hey, we got bilateral confirmation, y'all. We have mutual confirmation that fight's gonna happen. And this dude just had a fight. Tank just had a fight in January, and they're trying to, pretty much confirm it. Tank saying I'm ready for April, but ERROL came on this bitch and said he was gonna announce a fight, but yet stuff started hurting, and he's on the beach running around, frolicking in the sand. We haven't heard nothing, bro. We haven't heard not a goddamn thing. All we hear is, hey, ERROL's trying to turn down the fight again. He don't want to fight Thurman. Well, who the fuck you want to fight? Grab anybody you want to fight, bro. If you don't want to fight Keith Thurman because you don't like him, well, don't like Crawford? I mean, come on. I guess the liking system doesn't add up. You don't like Thurman, but you don't like Crawford either, but you don't like him bad enough to the point where it kind of evens out with Thurman. So both of these fighters you don't like enough to get in the ring with them. Crawford's too tough, and Thurman just rubs you the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? That's the bad part about this whole situation. It just rubs you the wrong way, bro. That's unfortunate, bro. This shit don't make any sense. It's 2023, and we still got people talking. And we got the fighters. Forget the content creators. We got a fighter that's ducking his second name in the welterweight division, a former champion. He's ducking him. He don't want to fight Keith Thurman. So if you don't want to fight Keith Thurman, resume negotiations with Terence Crawford. Oh, my fault. They mad. People saying that they mad at Terence Crawford for departing negotiations. Like, these are people who have family members, right? That they sit up here and give these speeches, especially coming up in February. They say, hey, I want y'all to grow up and be leaders. I want y'all to be up here and set the example for others to emulate. I want y'all to lead from the front. I just want you to know what it's like to taste success. That's what I want. But on this bitch, right? When they get behind the microphone in front of the screen, they talk a whole nother language. They're sitting up here ridiculing a fighter for negotiating with strength and prowess, man. That man is in there negotiating what he's worth. And y'all are upset that he just didn't go in there and lay down like a slave. Y'all don't call that man everything in the book like a black supremacist is known for. Y'all are black individuals hating on another black fighter. And you have took it upon yourself to go to the extreme to call this man a slave name just because he was attached to Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? Just because he was attached to Top Rank. But y'all don't want anyone to talk about ERROL Spence's dang habit, the videos that have him out here looking absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. And not only that, the fact that he is demonstrating, showing us that he can't make weight, supposedly at 47 in time to make that fight in November. If it was going to happen in November 2022, he couldn't make the weight, y'all. He was overweight. We have some of his pundits that was coming on here at the YTC lying, talking about the photos were Photoshop. No, they weren't. How can an interview be Photoshop? The man was in an interview, and you can tell he was up there about light heavyweight. They always said that ERROL Spence was big. He's the boogeyman, right? He's just showing you that at this point in time, just like WCS put it out there, ERROL Spence has residual ailments that he's probably dealing with from his abuse of his body internally. What happened in that car accident? You cannot continue to cut corners, man, and then be mad because you don't have any more escape routes. You cannot do that shit. He took shortcut after shortcut after shortcut. Now the escape routes are absent, and people are seeing him for what he is, bro. You pretty much let the entire boxing community down to the point where you have Timothy Bradley out here. Timothy Bradley is out here excoriating you, brother. He's calling for what you did. He not call him a boy? Did he not call it for what he did? Tim Bradley, aka Desert Storm. He's calling you to the carpet, brother. They get mad because I mentioned the legends, right? The legends have spoke on ERROL Spence in a bad way. Not in a bad way like it's unwarranted, but they just identifying the dark side, in which it's a lot of boxers, prior boxers, veterans that say, okay, he should be treating sport with a little bit more respect. It's not saying that this sport consists of ethics. No, that's not what I'm saying. But when you come to the legends are looking at it like, hey, you're in a position to make history. Okay, ERROL? You're in a position to make history. You're in a position to be a part of history. You're in a position to become history. That's what we're talking about. That's what WCS is mentioning. You're in all those positions to be a part of history, to solidify your legacy. And you turn it into this debacle. You turn it into something that people are going to remember you in the most tarnished light that you can imagine. When it gets time, when you find out you can't do this anymore for whatever reason, you can't step in the ring no more, or you take that first loss or two, and you're not getting that attention that you used to get, you know what I'm saying? Holding on to the belts, fighting in your backyard in Texas. Let's not forget Texas was the old Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Let's not forget it's a huge Latino fan base over there in Mexico. A huge fan base over there. This man don't even want to come out his backyard and fight. I say again, ERROL Spence do not want to leave Texas, y'all. He does not want to leave Texas. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. Don on deck. Salute WCS in the chat. Salute to you, Don. Shout out to my guy, Sucker Free, Mr. Gumbo, aka Hot Grease in the building. On deck with a salute at WCS, my brother in the chat family. Salute to you, Gumbo. Once again on the boulevard. CMD on deck. Bob Arum is Jewish. That man had nothing to do with slavery. Listen. Listen now. Check this out, CMD. Because I pay attention a little bit. Check this out, brother. They speak of Crawford now being blacklisted by PBC. Now, we're talking about boxing, y'all. I'm channeling my Allison Iverson, right? When we talk about practice, we're talking about boxing negotiations, y'all. We're not talking about the actual fight. We're talking about negotiations, y'all. We're talking about negotiations, right? Bob Arum has said that, hey, it'll be tough for Crawford without a promoter to make things happen. But the fact that I commend Crawford is his actions, his effort to go over there and make it work the best that he possibly can with the team that he got. Now, peep this out. You say Bob Arum was Jewish. It's Jewish, right? But I'm looking at this, right? It was a point in time that Bob Arum didn't even believe that Alan Heyman existed. At one point in time, Bob Arum has said the man was a cancer. But yet, we still know after he made that comment that there was fights being put on where PBC was co-promoting with Top Rank. TGB. TGB was co-promoting Top Rank. Once again, Bob Arum said that Al Heyman was a cancer to boxing. Once again, a cancer to boxing. I don't see anybody saying anything about that. I don't see anybody trying to say, oh, man, he should be banished from being a promoter. We're talking about the Triple OG Bob Arum. We're talking about the one who came up in the Don King era. Hey, truth be told, y'all, if I was in Don King, I was in Bob Arum shoes, right? Man, I would say I don't give a fuck about what none of y'all say. Do you know how many fights that I've been a part of in my history? Do you know what my lens looked like if you was to turn backwards and look back in time? Do you know what that looked like for me? We're talking about the Triple OG. We're talking about a guy who came up with the Don King. Come on. Him and Don King is legendary, bro. Legendary. And at one point in time, this man said that Al Heyman was a cancer to boxing. Ain't nobody talking about that, but they busy talking about Crawford went over there and fought Evanesian. Espinosa getting up here talking about, oh man, well, it looked like he was having a little bit of time. He looked like he had some ring rust. So let me get this straight. If ERROL Spence fought in April 2022, right? It would have benefited y'all to do what you possibly could to make that shit happen, because Espinosa ain't making no sense to the people who's blinded. He said it looked like Crawford had a little bit of ring rust from being out the ring for a year, right? But yet when it came down to Spence fighting in April, and then supposedly they're going to make the fight in November, right? And they postponed it to the following year, that would have further kept Terence Crawford out the ring. So pretty much what the play is, y'all wanted him to come in the ring because y'all thought it'll only make him that much older, you know what I'm saying, that much vulnerable for ERROL Spence to possibly go in there and have the advantage early in the fight. Because on the article, they was up here talking about Terence Crawford usually starts off fast. That's not the case. That's cap. Everybody, and a lot of people talk that Terence Crawford starts slow. He's a slow starter. He's a slow starter. But they out here lying on the man's name, bro. So it was okay to push the fight to 2023 and keep Crawford out of the ring for over a year. That was okay. But now people looking at it like, oh, when ERROL Spence, you got to understand one thing. ERROL Spence is only stepping into the ring after April from his own doing. Where is the medical papers like they had Jamel Charlo? They made Jamel Charlo, who pulled out of the fight for his hand, they made him get a doctor's note, right? What is hurting you, brother? Can we just get a doctor's note? Can we get some type of documentation? That's all we asking for. WCS is requesting. Where do I submit my request, bro? All we need is something that's saying, hey, you know, can you prove that what's going on? I mean, you're steadily up here trying to avoid Thurman. Are you injured? You're doing the same thing Thurman did, brother. It ain't right, bro. It's blasphemy. It's not right for you to sit up here and be biased the way you are, man. It ain't right. You're trying to hold someone accountable on your blacklist of fighters, which that list is very, very short because you don't have a lot of names to deal with, and you really ain't trying to fight Boots anytime soon, right? So therefore, you're doing the exact same thing Thurman was doing. We didn't know if he was injured or not, but he wouldn't fight. He ended up going on hiatus. Now look at you. You've been on hiatuses. They refuse to talk about that. You have an accident. That's from your own wrongdoing. You pleaded guilty to a DWI, bro, and then your eye fell out. That's on you. Just like Yellow Beezy, that's on you. Then you turn back around and you're out of the ring again when you should be scheduled to fight Terence Crawford. You're out of the ring again, bro. It's pitiful. It's pitiful. You out the fucking ring again. And these blind troglodytes that travel in the darkness and meet up on these damn live chats behind the scene, right? Your fans that don't talk about you except at night in private chats. They don't dare speak your name out here in public, bro. They don't respect you like that. They ain't fucking with you like that. They busy about making a penny, a quarter, $1, $5, $10. They all about doing that off Crawford's name. Because ERROL Spence's name, it would do a lot better in the algorithm if they gave a fuck about you, bro. They don't give a fuck about you. These little people that you call fans, they don't give a fuck about you, ERROL. Real talk. They can give a fuck about you, bro. You know it. I know it. Modern King Boxing on deck. I see you. Say yes, indeed. That W says shout out to Modern King in the building. Showtime said they bosses over there, but can't call no shot. Shaking my head. They have to call Al. Al handles everything. You know what I'm saying? They can't even postate the look at a contract without him knowing about it. And if they are viewing the contract, Al has to be in the proximity. He ain't sending nothing over there, you know, soft copy. No, you got to come over there to the headquarters. They ain't letting nothing go by. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that Spencer's not a part of negotiations. He's not a part of that. Just like, you know how I know that's to be true, right? Because how can the president of Showtime, right, sit up here and say that there's other conversations he's not privy to of TGB, Tom Brown, Al Heyman, and all them? He say, oh, it's some conversations I'm not privy to. So if it's some conversations that you're not privy to, you can't get on here and have these long, in-depth interviews with Fight Hub and talk as if you know everything, including what Al Heyman and Tom Brown may have spoke on. You can't get out here and talk that shit, bro. You cannot do it. You already put it out there for everybody to let them know, hey, I don't know everything. It's some shit and information that might be out there that I don't know because they having conversations without me being present. That makes more sense. So once again, I'm telling all the Spence aholics, the aerosexuals, you're in the same position that Steven Espinosa is. Just like I am. We're on the outside looking in. We're gathering information. But just because you gather information and you base your opinion, you can't sit up here and say some shit like facts. 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 Just be laughing for no reason. Opinions are not based off fact. How many times you got to go back to school for me to remind you that? How many times I got to do a Google search and tell you what opinions, what's the definition of opinions? Lisa Bell's be dropping them boxing gems. Why can't I see if she's in here? I'll try to find out what it is. For real. Because I don't see any of her comments. You know what I'm saying? I don't see, I see people talking or communicating, but I can't see none of her comments in the chat. You know what it is. You know what I'm saying? I probably have a hater over here with a wrench. No tell it, dog. Don't tell it, bro. I probably have a hater over here in the wrench with a wrench that hooked that up. He said after the latest car accident, Spencer's quoted saying, I'll be back in May or June. but not against who you think. But now he's back in April. Even after Bud said he'll be ready in May or June. True word spoken. Facts. Facts. Look, facts. That's fact. But he said April, May, or June, right? The point that he made April, May, or June, and what you're saying that Crawford already said that I'm ready. I'm ready to get the fight around that same time. I'm ready, bro. I'm ready to spin the block when you are. I'm ready. Crawford has put it out there. I'm ready. What else do you need? I'm ready to spin the block when you are. And then, but you still got people in the YTC. Listen, I don't think you really want to fight. Y'all are straight up haters, man. I call you cowards because that's the way you choose to move. Y'all ain't trying to make no fight. You got two black fighters trying to be a part of history, and all y'all doing is tearing it down. And you think because WCS speaks on it, somehow it bothers me enough that I'm losing sleep. It's not. I'm just trying to determine why y'all acting like you're so undeveloped, like you haven't did this shit before, like you haven't been following boxing for a long period of time to take a better look at the way you're coming out here on social media. That's all. You know, like you say you're boxing heads and y'all can do this and y'all can debate this over and over and over again. How can you debate anything about boxing when you keep on proving that you don't know shit about it? You keep acting like the whole purpose is to get on here every day and say, oh man, this is one of the biggest fighting boxers. But you know what? We're going to continue to tear down Bud Crawford every chance we get. So you're basically not paying attention to what's going on. Look, Deontay Wilder just came out here for 1 minute with Robert Helenius, right? And suppose he came back with 75K, right? Peep this, y'all, because these are motherfuckers that say they all about boxing and they here to big up the sport and they here to do all this shit, right? So basically, Deontay Wilder did 75K, and people up here laying down, throwing down the damn hailstones of criticism. He didn't sell. He didn't. Now word is broke, right? Supposedly word is broke that Gervonta did around 60-something, 65K or something like that. I'm not approximately knowing what it is, but he didn't break the 70 mark, but he did low numbers. So I'm asking once again, like, I was saying this the other day. I said, so if you're complaining about the way boxing fans are streaming illegally and that the numbers are going to continue to be affected by this illegal streaming, why are you acting like the model that used to be when Floyd, Pac, the Conor McGregor situation, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, that model way back when is supposed to be grandfathered into the current era, and fighters are still supposed to be doing those numbers? Explain to me why they act like they don't know shit about boxing. How are you going to criticize numbers coming in below 100K when these same individuals, you know who you are, you said you was a part of Stream Team 6. Don't let me mention your channels. Y'all be streaming these fights and pretending like you're supporting the sport of boxing. Y'all be illegal streaming the fight. Y'all have a certain app that you deal with that you're able to stream these fights and save money. You think people don't sit up here and drop dimes on y'all, and y'all be up here passing all this information back and forth about streaming fights illegally, but you get on here and want to talk about and criticize numbers? The reason why we're talking about 65K for Tank and Hector Garcia, the reason why we're talking about Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius, because a lot of y'all fools, you don't really support the sport, but you'll fuck with the sport. You'll fuck with the sport. Yeah, you'll do that. You'll fuck with it. Lisa Bell, I'm gonna get that fixed because I can't see any of your comments, and I really don't know why. I'm not able to see them on YouTube or nothing. Showtime said they was mad at me for saying that years ago Like, how you a boss, but you can't call shots? Bud Crawford is more a boss than any of them over there. Let me caveat what you just said, brother. I just recently heard this shit again. How they continue to reciprocate that this man is a boss. But yet, clearly, we did not see that play out last year in 2022 when we needed him to make some shit happen with this negotiation. It didn't play out. But not only that, we're finding out if he's a boss, why isn't the boss more privy to these negotiations? Why does he have much more of a hand in these negotiations so we can get this fight made for undisputed? If you're a boss, why, dog? You a boss, bro. You are a freaking boss, man. They always talk about, well, over there at PBC, Al Heyman sets his fighters up for success because he tells them to get their own promotional company. And I just heard somebody say, hey, Errol Spence, he gets a certain percentage. He's going to make more than Bud anyway. I was like, what? Because he have man down promotions. I say, bro, it's people out here that have LLCs and don't know what the fuck to do with them. There's people out here that have 501c3s just to say, yeah, I got a 501c3. They don't even know what to do with it. They couldn't tell you how to record the minutes. None of that shit. They all they know is, hey man, you can get a tax write-off on some shit. That's your business, this, and this. They don't know how to do anything with it. I'm pretty sure Spence has man down promotions. But I just want to know right here, why is it the masses out here talking about him being the biggest duck of this era? This man has ducked the last belt, the WBO world welterweight champion, 3-weight division champion, pound for pound best, Terence Bud Crawford, right? You can't get that fight done. But you call it mutual rapport between you and Crawford. But then you get to Thurman, and all of a sudden, he rubbed you the wrong way by not acknowledging you. But role reversal, right? The role reversal right now puts you in the same position he was back then when you was down sequestering him to fight you for the belts. At least you had a fucking belt. He don't have a belt. You don't want to fight Keith Thurman. They're making you fight Keith Thurman. And then you're absolutely putting up mad resistance to stay out the ring with Keith Thurman. But yet you ain't trying to fight Crawford. Nigga, what the fuck are you got going on? You're not even trying to fight Crawford by not stepping in the ring with Thurman. That shit is crazy, bro. This shit is absolutely crazy. They've been killed to fight the brand killers. People don't realize Steven Espinosa got the job at Showtime because Al Heyman pulled some strings. Hey, man, drop the gems, man. Drop the gems. What's going on, Dan? How you feeling? I do find it amusing that everybody streams but want to make pay-per-view numbers a point of criticism for these fighters. Man, hey, Andrew, man, stop with that EDU, that educational information, bro. People want to always talk about numbers, but these dudes are illegally streaming the fight, bro. They're not even paying for it. They get on here and lie and tell me, I'm paying for every fight. They're not. They're not. I guarantee you when April come around, when March and April come around, all these fights take place, pay-per-view, they're going to be like, oh, man, it's going to be transparency. Everything's going to be transparency, because they already know what the app. They're going to go to the app. They're going to then set their motherfucking calendars for this, and this. They're going to make sure that they do that shit the most cost-effective way possible. That means doing it illegally. Illegally streaming that shit, y'all. I can't make this up. NYT on deck. I see you. What's good with it? LAB. Lost all the boxing on deck. What's good with it, Q? But that's where we at. You know what I'm saying? That's where we at with it. It's duck season. The biggest duck. I'm putting this out there everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it everywhere. Because it doesn't make any sense. You're doing the exact same thing that you're saying you have a vendetta against him for right here, right now. You're doing the exact same thing. You're refusing to fight the man, and then you out of the sport like he was. You're inactive like Keith Thurman was, bro. I know you haven't consistently together put the amount of continuous months, but you're still reciprocating the same thing. You have become Keith Thurman today. You're mad at a guy for doing the exact same actions that you're basically emulating right here, right now. You're doing the exact same thing, bro. And I can't understand why you don't want to fight the best. Why are you the biggest duck of this era? Why your fans are so undeveloped mentally that they refuse to acknowledge it or figure it out. It's not like we're trying to tell you something that just totally changed up the entire makeup of boxing. No, we're smart enough as adults, I guess, to say, well, this has been going on long enough. We've been talking about it for the last several years. It's not much to do except get into negotiations. And yes, boxing is a business first. So if we're going into negotiations, and negotiations mean what again? Okay, if we understand what the word means and every action that it requires. Stephen Espinosa said, a good deal is when everybody's unhappy. So I guess in this particular situation, everybody on the PBC side was happy, but Crawford was unhappy. But yet it was said that he signed everything. So if he signed everything, why in the hell did they move it to next year? Why is people continue to talk and talk and talk and talk like Crawford was supposed to stay in place? Why do we have these individuals speaking like we haven't been through the civil rights era, like we haven't been subjected to things within our own people? The same shit they doing to Crawford, the same thing they'll be talking about next month. They'll be up here denigrating him, defaming his name, insulting him, getting personal, all that shit. And I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, it has to stop. I have a dream. No, I'm not dreaming this shit. I'm not dreaming. That's why I read up on MMA. I read up on BJJ. So I don't get too wrapped up tight enough to the point where this stuff just starts to affect my motivation to cover boxing in general. That's not it. But what I do know is ERROL Spence is the biggest duck this day. That shit ain't going away, bro. This guy's trying to turn down Keith Thurman. He's a much different complexion than Crawford, because y'all know y'all hate Crawford for his skin complexion. The ones that's out here making videos on him, y'all hate that dark skinned black man. But yeah, you got Keith Thurman. He's a lot of complexion. You know what I'm saying? He got different textured hair and shit like that. Now all of a sudden, Keith Thurman ain't good enough. Dude, Keith Thurman ain't good enough. Who's good enough then? If y'all don't sit up here and call this man out on his bullshit, this man is fighting at 154 pounds, y'all. You're not going to call him on the bullshit. Y'all are not going to hold up, stand down, fuck that, stand the fuck down. Why are you going up to 54 again? No titles on the line. So you have these coward ass fans of yours complaining and keep on talking about, well, he was just blindsided. He's in fucking boxing. You saying he can't recover? He was blindsided. This man fights for a living. You trying to say he can't recover? You trying to tell me Spence with Al Heyman on his team? You're trying to tell me Spence can't recover? He's incapable of recovering because negotiations fell apart. And he get on here, I was blindsided. Stephen Espinosa, we was blindsided. We don't want to go through that again. So you trying to tell me Crawford changed the scope of history when it comes to negotiation without a promoter? Let me put that back up there. Let me show you something again. Let me put this back up here. You trying to tell me Terence Crawford changed the scope of history when it comes to negotiation with no promoter, and he have a network president, right? He has people out here complaining that they was blindsided. This dude was getting no guarantee. He was getting net on the back end. He was supposed to get 35% and all the other bullshit. And he gets on here and say, a good deal is when everybody's unhappy. Oh my God. That's crazy. Somebody explain that to me. Like, this shit don't make any sense. It don't supposed to make sense, bro. It don't supposed to make sense to me. This man said good deal is when everybody's unhappy. So I'm pretty sure Crawford was unhappy, but yet we hearing that he signed everything. But yet he still get the finger pointing from the cowards, right? Because he went in there without a promoter, but yet the PBC was the people who moved the fight to 2023. And there was no guarantee that the fight was going to happen as we know it, because Spence went up here and he's overweight and he had this fake fathom accident where nobody can find a report on. And he said he ain't fighting the May or June, April, May or June. So what if Terence Crawford would have been that guy who did that? I say over and over again, what if he would have been that dude? Sat there, waited. He had an accident. Now he's locked in. The face, he can't do shit with ERROL SPENCE. He have to wait. Now he's trying to say, okay, I signed for a one-fight deal for ERROL SPENCE, but ERROL SPENCE is supposedly hurt right now. Stuff started to hurt after the accident. And now Crawford is just on the shelf waiting. Y'all don't see how stupid you look? That don't make you seem stupid, or you just blatantly doing this shit purposely just for attention and super chats and viewership? Because if that's the case, man, there's plenty of y'all clowns out here to make a damn good circus out here in the YTC. That's exactly the way y'all look, bro. Y'all look like a motherfucking circus. Like you have damn near every character to make a good damn circus, for real. Because y'all pretty much know if Crawford would have took, if Crawford agreed to everything and they moved the fight to 2023, it was very beneficial for him to get the fuck up and move over to Plan Bravo. Plan Bravo worked out great. BLK Prime worked out great for him. Went over there and got the knockout. You know, had some defective gloves from the manufacturer. No fault of his. Put another win to his ledger. And goddamn it, he's moving on, making decisions. He ain't locked in. He ain't up here. Oh man, I don't want to fight Thurman. He's basically asking. He's pleading. He's begging for ERROL SPENCE to fight. And Espinosa is pretty much saying, nah, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. It's still an attractive fight. We'll revisit it someday. But then the other paragraph will tell you like, oh no, it ain't happening. But then he'll say, oh, we'll revisit it. We definitely have to use a different dynamic. He says 20 fighters, you know, because pay-per-view guarantees only happened 3 years ago. It's 20 fighters that we can name. And he names 2 that's attached to the PBC out of the 20. And I sent a search and rescue out there, people. I said, what the fuck is the other 18? We can't account for them heads. Where are they? Espinosa, where are they, bro? You said 20 and you mentioned Javante and Floyd Mayweather. I'm pissed. Exo Factory on deck, man. What it do? I bought the Ruiz Ortiz pay-per-view, and that shit did 30K. See, now we're hearing people understand that we're on a different era with a different pay-per-view model. It's a different pay-per-view model. The numbers are going to be different. They're going to be much lower. With the advancement of technology, it's going to allow other gateways for anybody, for the fight fans to be able to infiltrate and illegally stream. You know what I'm saying? It's not going anywhere, bro. That's just the way it is. It's not going anywhere. So I don't know why, like, listen, we're talking about boxing, right? When you hear people talk about boxing, you have people that say they know so much about boxing. And it is people that know about boxing. It depends. It's so many areas of boxing where you want to know. But why are we going to continue to portray the ignorance, a huge depth of ignorance to that, and not understanding that we changing with the times? We're getting very low pay-per-view numbers, y'all. But yet, these clowns out here will continue to criticize a certain fighter for doing these numbers. And then I heard somebody up there criticizing Rick Glaser. Look, you can continue to hold grudges against Rick Glaser, who has more pull than you. I believe shit Rick Glaser put out before I believe a lot of you clowns out here. Seriously, you don't have no solid connect. But you want to sit up here and say, oh, man, I don't like that guy Rick Glaser because he don't know what he's talking about. I'll believe him 100 times over before I even believe anything y'all talking about. One love to my bro OG WCS. Y'all smash the like button. Appreciate you, XO. Appreciate you. Thanks for pulling up. Andrew say they thought they had Bud coined into a no option situation. That's not blindsided. That's short-sightedness. Talk that shit, Andrew. You know what I'm saying? Why they keep on acting like this man ain't wearing the crown, y'all? Why they keep acting like Bud ain't wearing the crown, man? I'm hanging there also. He must be talking to himself. Hey, get out the mirror. Get out the mirror there, Bobby. You got a D in your name, not me. I don't have no D in my name. I don't have no D in my name or a P in my name. I don't even have, look, I don't have any of that in my name. You do. Pick another name. Plus, if they really wanted to fight between Crawford versus Spence, they would at least offer him a multi-deal fight with him getting the lion's share in the rematch as the winner in the A side. Now, listen, brother, that makes a lot of sense what you're saying, right? But from my understanding, he didn't want a multi-fight deal. But we don't know if the lion's share would have enticed him if he felt secure enough, to listen to it. Because as we look back at it in hindsight, that shit sounds good as you put it in here, but we know goddamn well they wouldn't have gave him a lion's share or anything. I mean, that's just not the business that you do when you're the A side and you're basically negotiating for your fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people tell you, brother, that regardless if you sign a multi-fight deal or not, if they're going to sit up here and ink that deal with you, they don't want to say, hey, man, we want it so bad, we're going to give you the lion's share in the rematch. Look, knowing that they don't even know if they're going to get out this motherfucker on their feet. This dude is stopping everybody in the welterweight division. They don't know if they're going to get out this motherfucker on their feet. You trying to sign him to a multi-fight deal, and you don't know if your fighter going to make it out on his feet or not. He might be on his back, mobile, heading to the hospital. They don't want to put no multi-fight deal up there for Crawford, bro, and give him the lion's share. That might give that man more motivation to go in there and destroy Spence. Even worse, without somebody telling him he down on the scorecards. Feel me? I don't see it happening, y'all. I don't see it happen, but that's a damn good point you make. You know what I'm saying? That's a damn good point. But listen, y'all, keep this in your thought process. This conversation ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence is the biggest duck of this era. That's what it is, period. He up here whining and complaining about Keith Thurman. Those of you that understand that shit, y'all should talk about it. Y'all should make it perfectly clear how you feel. You know what I'm saying? If you are pretty much supporting this effort, okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so be it. All right, cool. But the real ones who understand that this don't have nothing to do with Crawford. Keith Thurman's situation don't have nothing to do with Crawford. You can't say they was blindsided, and this is the reason why he's overweight and he's fighting at 54. That don't have nothing to do with Crawford. Why isn't Crawford up here weighing 185, 190? I'm being honest. Why isn't he overweight? This man has traveled to Thailand and taking pictures with tigers and shit. Why didn't we see him up there eating funnel cakes and shit with extra powdered sugar and goddamn strawberry topping? He didn't look like he was out of shape. The man was walking around chilling like, okay, I'm good. I'm about to go over here and check out this wildlife. And then I'm a shadow box on the beach later. You know what I'm saying? I'm staying right. It only further proves which fighter has the most discipline. It only proves that Errol Spence don't have the discipline for this sport. Errol Spence, he will continue not to have the discipline for this sport to all the way up to the point where he takes a couple of L's, and then that might be the worst L's he ever took. You can't be mad at your fans. You can't be mad at the legends. You can't be mad at the critics. You can't get mad at Timothy Bradley for basically calling you out, for cutting corners, and now there's no more exits for escape routes. It's none for you, bro. You're overweight right now, and you're sitting up here saying, well, I really don't want to fight Keith Thurman because I don't like him. That ain't a good look. You can't blame that shit on Crawford. Crawford has nothing to do with you ducking Keith Thurman. But, man, y'all been great. Appreciate y'all for pulling out. Man, turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Make sure you hit the like button, and we'll do it again. I'm out.